Blinken has blatantly lied to Congress in a tragically hilarious fashion.
Well, so this is the ProPublica report that is what landed Blinken in hot water over the past couple of days. And basically there were two US government bodies, one of them being USAID, who is like no friend to people, domestic or foreign, that gave Blinken reports that said very clearly Israel is blocking humanitarian aid. And here's the thing. The US has on the books, not that our laws mean a damn thing to people who are powerful and rich enough not to follow them, but on the books, there is a law that the U.S. has to suspend all military sales to countries who block humanitarian aid.
Well, specifically to countries that block U.S. humanitarian aid.
Right.
So basically, we can't be trying to aid the people while we're also arming the people that are harming them. Like, that's the law. And I'm surprised that Congress hasn't been so disgusting and immoral as to repeal this law just so they can keep doing it with Israel. But obviously, this is what's going on with Israel. We are sending them arms, and they are stopping the aid that is being sent by the United States and other countries to Gaza. Like, this isn't even, it's not even a debate. It's obvious. It's fucking obvious.
Yeah.
And so Blinken went in front of Congress, and although he was very careful with his wording, still lied. But on May 10th, Blinken delivered a carefully worded statement to Congress that said, quote, "We do not currently assess that the Israeli government is prohibiting or otherwise restricting the transport or delivery of U.S. humanitarian assistance."
That is pretty straightforward.
Now, but the reason he probably worded it exactly like that, currently, like using the word currently, is it's possible that in his back channels, he got Israel to allow specifically U.S. aid, so they keep blocking all the other aid, to allow U.S. aid in so that he could say this sentence and have it be barely
Well, no, but
truthful.
what the report shows is that Israel wasn't doing that. Israel was not allowing any aid in, including U.S. aid.
Right, up to that day. I'm saying I think he might have added the word currently because he was trying to say now, basically now they are. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but it is still a lie. It's a lie to Congress. And as you pointed out, these are U.S. reports.
Mm-hmm.
These are U.S. organizations that carefully assessed the situation and said, absolutely, Israel is stopping aid from getting in.
I mean, this also reminds me, I did an interview with a Palestinian American who had been in the Air Force for like 20 years, and he quit on like October 13th or something last year, or resigned, or it's not quit. You don't like you don't hand in your 2-week notice at the military. But he was saying that basically what he doesn't have top secret access or anything like that. He doesn't have, the higher clearances. He said everybody in the government is well aware of what's going on, well aware of what Israel is doing, because you have to be, because Israel is dependent on the United States. So it's like a child. Like, you are well aware of what your dependents are doing, right? Like, if they were killing a bunch of kids in your neighborhood, you'd know about it, right? Like, you'd smell the bodies in their closet. And so the idea that the US doesn't know, or like somehow I didn't see it, I didn't see that report, it's like, it's so dumb. So this ProPublica research is really important, and it of course just further proves that there's no way that the US can be like, I don't know. Which is also what the US does, right? And I'm sorry to keep hearkening back to the Second World War, but just because there are a lot of disgusting and really eerie parallels, also because Zionists love to use the Shoah or the Holocaust as like an excuse for their dumb shittery. The US knew exactly what Germany was doing. The US could have bombed like train tracks that led to concentration camps,
right,
but didn't. So it's like, this is a very American, a very US policy, right? Of knowing what's going on, because the US always wants to know what's going on, and it does, because it's been a superpower for so long, but then doesn't do a damn thing about genocide, about crimes against humanity. So again, like, and I'll just say this too about the whole Blinken thing. It is disgusting. Blinken is a piece of shit, and horrible things should be done to this man. But and when I say horrible things, I mean like he should lose his keys, right?
Yes, he should like be at a party and he takes a massive dump in the toilet and then it just overflows.
Yeah, like awkward, horrible things.
And he's like, gotta go back out. And
I don't mean anything illegal,
like,
of course.
Try to explain what went on in there.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Like, let's say that he resigns. Okay, do you think they're gonna ask like Cornel West to take his place, or do you think they're gonna ask like somebody who's anti-Zionist or somebody who actually believes in justice and liberation administration, do you think they'd ask them to take his place? They would find someone just as bad. So it's like
speaking to the systems.
Right. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Blinken shouldn't have to resign over this or shouldn't have to never work in the government again and should be forced to like clean porta potties for the rest of his life. But like, they're not going to find some amazing person to take his place. So I think that like, while it's important to recognize that this is how our system works, we also shouldn't take too much like of our bandwidth to focus on this and be shocked by this, because this is how the US system works, and it's how it's going to continue to work as long as there is a US system.
Yeah, great point. And I try and make that point fairly often, that these are how the systems are designed. The systems, like every bit of behavior of Antony Blinken before he got in the position of Secretary of State had to prove that he would do exactly these type of things once he was Secretary of State. You don't get to that position. You don't become the Secretary of Defense. You don't get on the Supreme Court. You don't get any of these positions of power unless you've proven every step of your goddamn life that that's who you are, that you are one of these sacks of shit, and you will defend their sacks of shittery at every stance. So it is a systemic, a massive systemic problem rather than just an individual. And, you know, then to also just talk about the fact that this also speaks at a deeper level to the laws that the U.S. has. We have a few laws on the books, a few bills, a few acts that are designed to have us do something remotely moral. You know, some of them are international, like Geneva Conventions or whatever. And then I'm getting that. Don't give away all my punchlines. But when in the few chances where we have those, either they repeal them like they did with the Don't Fund Nazis Act in 2013. They repealed it so that they could fund and arm Nazis in Ukraine, or they ignore them, like the bill that says you cannot keep sending guns and ammunition and bombs to a country that's stopping your own aid from getting into the people they're bombing. We have a few of these little things designed to help our country be moral, and we fucking ignore them or repeal them or go around them. And that is systemic. Again, this is how our system of laws works. So.